Welcome back. The Lymanstall Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show continues. Brent Balbinot saying thank you for joining us on DCTV Sports. It is here, the postseason. We talk about this so many times. I know it's cliche sometimes to say coaches will break down the season into 2 or maybe even 3 different sub-seasons, but the simple fact is this, and the beauty of high school basketball is doesn't matter what your record is, you're guaranteed at least 1 game in the postseason. Tenor is planning on more than 1 game. After a tremendous season, it's now focusing on Liberty Center. What a matchup. We've got 2 teams that played each other very early this season. 2 teams that I think both coaches would say we're not the same team we were way back in November. Coach Lymanstall is here to break it down for us, but before we preview, let's recap. You good with that?
Yeah.
You've had a chance to look at it now. And I know there's an old phrase, the days are long, but the seasons are short. Does last November seem like a long time ago, or did it go by in the blink of an eye?
Both. I mean, when you're thinking in terms of how many games ago that was, yeah, it's a long time ago, but it feels just like yesterday. And like you said, both teams are probably very much different than what we were, when we played. It was their first game of the season, so
off a deep football run.
Right. So I think, getting to the postseason, the regular season was just a formality for them, because it's very hard, I'm sure, to get into a rhythm in terms of league play and such. So they've been playing much better as of late.
You had a chance to scout Liberty Center earlier this week because they did have to play Emmanuel Christian. 20-point fourth quarter. That game was anybody's going into the last 8 minutes. Break this team down. What do they bring to the court?
Well, they bring a lot of athleticism, a lot of strength, size, physicality. Across the board, they got it with their athletes. Galen has turned into, I think he was injured fairly early, or at least in the preseason he was down, and maybe didn't get the preseason that he needed to have this sort of regular season early, but he's looked really, really good as of late.
He's a beast. I mean, he's the better part of 6'5", maybe 6'6", but in today's game where you'll see 6'7", 6'8" kids want to come out and face the basket and think they're point guards,
right?
He can post. I mean, he gets a strong wide base, his hands up. How do you defend that?
He can post. He's very patient in the post. It's not one guy that's really going to take him on. The first game we played, we did run a double team at him, so we're probably going to consider that again also. But across the board, the Miller kid's got great size. The Cruz kid comes off the bench. He's got great size. They present problems on the glass, and their guards have been shooting it much better as of late also.
You've had the benefit of having the extra part of the week, so to speak, to be able to focus on practice. How do you basically balance staying intense, but also at the same time making sure your guys are fresh for tonight?
We try to keep them short, practice-wise. We asked them earlier in the week, early in the season, it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours, maybe sometimes 3 in the preseason. But now it's all about those mental reps, keeping the body fresh. We asked them, getting off to a good start has been kind of a trend lately where we haven't been, up to par. But we try to keep them short, keep their, their undivided attention on that period of time.
What has impressed you the most about your team this year? You've talked about it before. I know Connor Welling did with a smirk on his face at the end of, I think it was the Ayersville post game, but he talked about the maturity of this year's team, and not just 1 or 2 guys, but across the board. What has impressed you the most about this group?
Well, maturity is certainly one. The other one is their unselfishness. There's 3 guys in the seniors that average around 10 or just over 10 a game. And each one of them could go for 20. And then you throw in Josh Leave and then Owen Farrell, who's been scoring here as of late also. Josh has really stepped it up on the defensive end and on the offensive end. So we got 5 guys that are always on the floor, and then you throw in our bench guys, and then the other guys here in practice too. They're just very, very unselfish guys that really want to, fight to stay together.
Keys for tonight. I know you talked about tempo versus rhythm, and I know I've talked about this with Scoop and a couple of our other color announcers. You can get tempo, but still not be in rhythm.
Right.
How tough is it to find that balance, so to speak? The tempo you want, but also making sure that your offense is flowing correctly.
Well, at that point, we're relying on our seniors' maturity in terms of their IQ. They recognize when we have an advantage, when it's time to go, when it's time to run offense and execute.
I don't think you probably need to give any huge Coach Dale pregame speeches from Hoosiers here. This group knows what's on the line.
Yep.
Everybody does. I mean, at this point in time of the season, playing for the right to wear the uniform one more time. This group gets that.
Yep.
How can you treat this like any other game, or do you want to?
Well, I think it's all in the preparation. I mean, the schedule has stayed the same throughout the week. Scouting's the same throughout the week, so it's just another pre-practice tonight. I'm sure the jitters will be, rolling a little bit tomorrow, but once you throw the ball up in the air, it's a matter of time. You just got to settle in and let's go.
Play ball.
Yep.
Don't overanalyze it, right?
Right.
Something we've never been accused of on DCTV Sports. Coach, as always, we appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Coach Lymanstall joining us. We're going to take a quick time out. We're back with more of the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. You're watching DCTV Sports.